This is my audience. I'm Meier, and this is my persuasive speech. One of the biggest issues regarding college students today is the amount of tuition it costs to go to school. Over the past several years, tuition costs have continuously risen. Even one of the presidential candidates, Bernie Sanders, mentions in his political stance that not sending American students to school is a national disgrace. And that was published in the Sanders Unveils Tuition Free College Plan, published by Real Clear Politics. He quotes that unaffordable rates for college students is unnecessary, and by having more affordable rates, it's going to be more students will be able to go to college for free. I think this is an important topic to discuss because students today are the workers tomorrow. And it's not impossible to achieve either because other countries send their students to school with free tuition, and it's very possible. Not only that, but not only students will benefit from this, but also the economy. So today I'm going to be talking about how attending higher education should be free. And my three main points are that free tuition is given to students in other countries. 2, that free tuition is possible without raising taxes. And 3, that free tuition will give students the opportunity to focus on their studies. My first main point is that free tuition is given to students in other countries. In 2015, the article Aiming Higher, Making College Tuition Free by John Wiener, published by the academic journal Nation, the author gives points on how other countries successfully give free tuition, especially in Germany. Germany has the number 4th economy in the world, and in 2005 they tried to impose tuition on college students, but soon after that, students and also citizens of Germany protested to that, and that quickly disappeared. The government should want free tuition and give it to the students because students are the workers of tomorrow. This summer, I was in Germany and I was studying abroad there, so I got to see how the school system worked and also how the economy was run. And so being able to see that, I think it's very possible to have Americans have free tuition. In an online article called How America's Colleges Could Be Tuition Free, published by the website College Rank, it gives a number of statistics about how free tuition is very possible. In 2014, the last German state abolished tuition. With this, they said that access to education is a human right. At a young age, you start off with having free tuition, or not free tuition, but you start off with free education from preschool to 12th grade. So after that, having to spend thousands of dollars every year on tuition shouldn't be a thing. So my first main point was how other countries successfully give free tuition to their students. Now my second point is free tuition is possible without raising taxes. From the same article I used earlier, How America Should Be Tuition Free, published by the website College Rank, they go on and discuss how the government already has funding for giving students free tuition. They only need $62.6 billion to send all the students in the U.S. to the 2 colleges for free. If you add up all the grants and the federal loans that the government already gives out, it adds up to $6.2 billion or even more than that. So the government already has the funding to send everyone to school for free. So why they don't is a good question. From the first article I used, Aiming Higher, Make College Tuition Free, published in 2015 by the academic journal Nation, the states say they can't afford it and that the funding, or state funding, is withering. But if you look at my last statistics about how they do have the funding, you know that they do have the money to send students to school with free tuition. Also, an interesting fact that I found out was that when state funding decreases, colleges will increase tuition. They do this to make up for the decreasing funding. And I thought that was interesting because I feel like you would want tuition not to rise because with that, it's going to bring down the rates of students coming into school. In sum, it's very possible to have free tuition without raising taxes. My third and final point is that free tuition will give students the opportunity to focus on their studies. In a 2012 article from the New York Times on rising tuition costs in San Francisco, they asked students how they were dealing with rising costs. One student was first worried about how she was going to get into school, but soon after that she realized she should have been worrying about the financial side of it. She's currently working 2 jobs, and she barely has time to study. And students focus on finances instead of studies. And with that, college is supposed to be about finding who you are and getting involved in things. But when tuition is so high, it's hard to figure out studies because you're so focused on the financial side. In my personal experience, I'm in my 2nd year of school, so I know firsthand how it is having to balance studies, work, and also extracurricular activities. I'm an independent, so I have to figure out my finances on my own, and also I work a job on the side. I was lucky and got a grant from the state for having my FAFSA, but at the same time, I still have to have a job and balance work and studies. So with free tuition, it would be easier to focus on your studies, and I think that not only goes for me, but students everywhere. And so finally, I argue that students should be able to focus on studies and their future instead of worrying about how they're going to pay off their debt after they're out of school. In review of my speech, having free tuition is a very reachable goal, and if other countries can do it, then so can we. By the time students reach college, we have an understanding of finances. It's not a lesson. In one article I found, I saw that someone said that we shouldn't have free tuition because then students won't know financial stability. But I didn't think that was right because just having to pay tuition just to teach us a lesson isn't a good reason. Students are the workforce of the future, so sending us to school for free and then focusing on our studies and later our work is something that everyone should think about. I think to change this, we should raise more awareness and fight for the need of a more reasonable tuition. If we speak out, the government will see that it's a problem, and hopefully it can change for future generations. So in review of my main points on why attending college should be free, my first main point was that free tuition is possible in other countries. 2, free tuition is possible without raising taxes. And 3, free tuition gives students the opportunity to focus on their studies. And thanks for listening to my persuasive speech.